gosh, guys, let's take a breath together because I'm also really nervous. Okay. Hello, everyone. Faculty, staff, families, our board members, and most importantly, class of 2026. I am so amazed that I am even standing here before you all today, that we have made it this far, and that this marks the end of our journey as undergrads at Pomona College. It doesn't quite feel real. Before I really begin, I must take a moment to honor my parents and my family who are in the crowd. My mom, you are the brightest star in the sky. And my dad, you have been the person who has pushed me and encouraged me to pursue my dreams. And my sister, you will remain, as always, the greatest love of my life. During the course of my speech, I will be revealing 2 secrets. I promise it sounds more ominous than it is. 4 years ago, I stood up on a stage much smaller than this one and gave remarks to my high school graduating class. A lot of you will roll your eyes at this because, of course, you did. But my first secret is I was not sad at all during my high school graduation. Despite me being in a small magnet program for 4 years, despite my million extracurriculars, that has not changed, despite me shedding even a single strategic tear during my speech, I was ecstatic to be leaving that place. And if you heard my remarks during the BSU Town Hall earlier this year, you may have a clue as to the type of environment I was escaping. To me, and like most of you, Pomona represented change, and one that wasn't just limited to location. It was deeply personal. I wanted to become an entirely different being. All I could think about from the moment I got my acceptance was what new entity I was going to carefully carve myself into before coming here. I shed my glasses, yes, I wore glasses, redid my wardrobe, learned how to do my makeup, and tried to emulate the confidence that had almost entirely eroded away in high school. This transformation is also why no photo exists of me before 2022. I was completely obsessed with what I could be here if only I worked at it. When I relayed this to my sister, she very astutely advised me with this message: no matter where you go in this world, Marilyne, you take yourself with you. Just because you have changed places does not mean you have changed the core of what makes you who you are. Beautiful words. I very promptly ignored this advice and proceeded on with my mission. When I arrived at Pomona, I started off great. No one knew who I was and the things I did not like about myself. I certainly looked much better than I ever had. I was more conscious in every social interaction, focusing on how the new Marilyne would behave, what she would say, how she would move. But eventually, as with everything, cracks started to show. College, as all of you know, is not easy for a myriad of reasons. I struggled deeply with some of my classes, making friends and navigating what my future would look like. It was so much harder to keep up with my facade when I was being tested in those ways. In fact, it is in those hard moments where more of the real me showed, where all of those insecurities and quirks came to the surface. And that nearly dragged me down into deep despair because I did not like those aspects of myself very much. I hated them, actually. And I came to almost resent this place for bringing those things back up when I was trying so hard to run away from that Marilyne. But then I thought back to my sister's advice, and strangely, I also thought back to my grandmother. Now I'm gonna pivot a little bit, and though it may not make sense right now, I promise it all ties back together in the end. My second secret that I'm going to share with you all is my first name is not Marilyne. Not technically, at least. Gasp, I know. Marilyne is not my first name, but it is the name everyone calls me and will continue to call me. My first name, or at least the name that is put first in the order of my many names, is really Alice, or Alice Puma. I was named after my grandmother, my father's mother. You see, in my culture, we have a thing called bombos. Essentially, it is like a godparent, and when you have a child, you give that child the godparent's first name in order to honor them. Who a parent chooses to name their child after signifies the traits they want them to possess. And what an honorable name Alice is. My grandmother raised almost a dozen kids in deep poverty, scrounging up enough money for them to go to school, to eat, and to live. She was resilient and brave and strong, and I am proud to bear her name every day. And that is the importance of a name. It carries with it a mouthful of history, expectations, failures, and triumphs. Everywhere you've gone, you have left a version of yourself not so far behind, and you have picked up a name. And those names are proof that you are here and that you have lived and carried on. Here, we were called undergrads, freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, graduates, and sage hens, chirp chirp. And that is what I did not understand as I desperately attempted to run away from myself when I got here. You, all of you, everything that makes you you, are inescapable. In the words of Thanos, you are inevitable. You cannot ever run away from yourself, from the only person who will ever know everything about you, from the weight of your many names. When all is said and done, class of 2026, when you have left all but a shadow in this place, and when you have moved on to what is waiting for you next, what name will we call you? Will it be doctor, lawyer, engineer, as I call it the Great Immigrant 3? Will you be crawling your way to the top of a corporate ladder in a space that has not seen many people like you? Will you be demanding better wages for struggling workers as a union organizer? Will you push every subsequent institution you are a part of to do better for the world? Will you demand justice in the face of injustice? Will you be bold and brash and take all that is with you, all you are with you as you fight to make your dreams come true? Will we call you an activist, a comedian, a nurse, a dentist, an underpaid research assistant, another student? Will we call you a brother, a sister, a friend? If in years from now, someone thinks to make you a bombo, what do you want them to think about you? What of yourself do you want to pass on? What weight will your name bear on them? You have all left quite the impression on me, class of 2026. And I am so proud that for the last 4 years, I have been able to call you all my family. I am so excited to see what you do next and how you will leave your mark on this world. Thank you and congratulations.